The Galactic University of Laura Prime was known across the stars. Thousands of species sent their best minds there. Inside the crystal lecture halls, ideas lived longer than time. But that day, one idea brought fear. Professor Jakara walked into the hall. His skin was pale blue, his eyes black and unblinking. He was old, even for a Varnak. He had taught for over 300 years. Students respected him. Some feared him. But today, they laughed. He stood in front of the class. His long fingers tapped a small metal box on the table. Today's lesson, he said slowly, is about Earth. The room filled with quiet whispers. Earth, the cursed world, the death planet. Very few had seen it. Even fewer had survived it. One student raised a tentacle. Is Earth not unfit for life? Jakara nodded. That's what we believed, until we met humans. The box opened. Inside was a round red fruit, slightly shriveled, with a strange smell. This, he said, is called a cherry bomb. 2. Most species, this is poison. Gasps filled the room.
Ow, one student blinked fast.
That's illegal to hold outside a sealed lab? Jakara smiled. Yes, but humans eat this for fun. They all stared at him. Silence held the air. Then someone giggled. Then another laughed. Within seconds, the room echoed with mocking laughter. Professor, is this a joke? Do humans not know what poison is? Maybe they are just lying. Jakara didn't smile. He waited for them to finish. And he clicked a button on his wrist. A door opened, and a human walked in. He looked calm, tall, young, brown skin, short black hair. He wore the simple blue uniform of a first-year exchange student. A tag on his chest said, Leo. Leo waved. Hey. Jakara nodded toward him. This is Leo. He has agreed to join us today.
Ass.
Leo, do you know what this is? He pointed to the cherry bomb. Leo walked over, looked at the fruit, picked it up, and sniffed it. Oh yeah, we have these at home. Jakara stepped back. Would you eat it? Sure. No. Someone shouted. That will kill you. Leo raised one eyebrow. Really? Tastes great? And in front of everyone, Leo took a bite. The hall screamed. One student fainted. Another covered her mouth. But Leo? He just chewed, crunched, chewed, swallow. He smiled. Man, I miss this taste. Jakara looked at his class. No one spoke. No one laughed now. Do you believe me now? He asked softly. Humans don't avoid poison. That night, the students could not sleep. They kept talking about it. Messages flew across the university network. The video of Leo eating the fruit was shared millions of times. Some thought it was a trick. Others said humans had a secret in. The high towers of the science department debates started. Alien doctors requested to study Leo's biology. The ethics board refused. But curiosity burned. The next morning, 2 officials arrived at Leo's room. Come with us, he said. Leo didn't resist. They brought him to a white chamber underground. It had no windows, just machines, scanners, and vials of chemicals. We need to test something, one alien doctor said. It won't hurt. Leo smiled. You'll be surprised what I can handle. They injected him with a mild toxin. 1 drop could make a tyrant fall into a coma. Leo yawned. Next, they tried acid. Gas. His skin turned red for a second, then returned to normal. Finally, they used a sample of a virus known as Blue Death. It killed 80% of test species in less than an hour. Leo scratched his head, feeling itchy. Said, Is that normal? The doctor stared at the monitors. His cells are adapting, changing faster than any model we have. It's not immunity, it's evolution in real time. Up in the university dining hall, students gathered in whispers. He should be dead. What is Earth made of? Is Leo even real? One student from the mechanical division shook his head. If humans are like this, imagine their soldiers. At night, Leo walked back to his dorm. Lights followed him. Security cameras tracked him. He knew. But he didn't mind. The next day, he sat in class again. Jakara stood before him. Leo, he said, do you know what the word poison means to us? Leo thought for a second. I think it means something you fear. Maybe it's different on Earth. On Earth, we eat things to train our bodies. We drink venom in small doses. Our people live in deserts, volcanoes, and radiation zones. Jakara whispered, "Why?" Leo looked around and said something that made the room fall silent. "Because everything on Earth tries to kill us, and we refuse to die." That night, in the dark corners of the university, something moved. A group of aliens in dark robes met under flickering lights. "The human is dangerous," one said. "We cannot allow Earth's biology to spread." Another nodded. "It's not just him, it's what he represents. If they walk freely here, the galaxy changes." They had a name, the Purists, and they had made a decision. Leo had to be tested again, not in a lab, but in fire. The next morning, a note appeared on Leo's bed. "No more games.
Deal.
If you are what they say you are, prove it tonight. North Lab, midnight." Leo folded the note. He smiled. At midnight, he arrived at the North Lab. The door opened for him without a sound. Inside, 6 figures waited. They wore black robes, their faces hidden. One of them stepped forward. "We are the Watchers of Purity. We test what should not exist. Are you ready?" Leo cracked his knuckles. "Go ahead." They sealed him in a room. 0 gravity, thick walls. In the middle, a glowing orb of energy waited. They called it plasma fire. It had melted battle armor. They activated it. Leo stood in front of it. Heat waves rippled. Lights turned red. Alarms warned. The fire reached his chest. He didn't scream. He laughed. "This tickles," he said. Outside the chamber, the purists stepped back. One of them whispered, "He's laughing in plasma. ... The machine failed. Systems overloaded. The fire stopped. The door opened. Leo walked out, shirt burned, hair messy, but smiling. "You guys need better fire." The purists ran. Fear had touched them. That night, Jakara watched the footage again. He opened an old file. It was labeled Project Earth Forbidden. He read reports. Human tribes living in poisoned swamps, kids swimming in acid lakes, soldiers marching through snow filled with blood-eating bacteria. He opened a video. Child eats a plant that kills animals in 10 seconds. She licks her fingers and says, "Tastes like cinnamon." Jakara leaned back. "We didn't meet evolution," he said to himself. "We met something else." Outside his window, the stars looked peaceful, but he knew peace was ending. Leo was just a student, and Earth was still silent, but not for long. The video of Leo eating the poisonous fruit had now reached every corner of the Galactic University. Some still thought it was fake. Others were terrified. The Science Board, the Ethics Council, even the Security Command all held secret meetings. One question echoed everywhere. How did the human survive? No one could explain it, so they decided to test it. Leo was in his dorm room when the knock came. 2 tall aliens stood at the door. Their skin was gray and smooth. No eyes, only sensors. "Leo of Earth," one said. "You have been selected for a scientific examination." Leo smiled. "Finally, I was starting to get bored." "Oh." They brought him to a lab far below the university towers. The elevator went down for 5 minutes. There were no windows, only cold metal walls and long white lights. The lab was big. Machines lined the walls. The floor was shiny. In the center stood a clear chamber with a chair inside. Leo looked around. "This is fancy," he said. "You guys sure this isn't a trap?" A soft voice answered. "We don't need traps." Female alien walked in. She had violet skin and 3 eyes. Her name tag read, "Dr. Revi. I am in charge here," she said. "You'll feel no pain. But we need answers." Leo sat in the chair. "Let's find out what I'm made of." They started slow. The first test was a blood scan. Machines beeped. Lights blinked. Screens showed strange results. His red cells regenerate in seconds. One scientist whispered, "Look, here his white cells eat poison particles. That's not biology. That's survival turned into art." Next, they tried cold. They dropped the temperature inside the chamber to minus 100 degrees. Leo crossed his arms. Kinda chilly. They dropped it further. Minus 200. He blew on his hands. This is like winter back home. You should see Siberia. The scientists looked confused. Then they tried heat. The chamber heated to 400 degrees. Leo took off his shirt. That's better. I like a good sauna. No sweating. No damage to his skin. He even started stretching, like he was enjoying himself. Revi frowned. Begin toxin testing. They inserted a needle into Leo's arm. The liquid was red-black. It was called Type V. It killed a Zarn beast in less than 10 seconds. Leo yawned. That's it? Nothing? Revi asked. Leo shrugged. Tastes like a bad energy drink. Double quotes next. They sprayed gas into the chamber. Is it gas? It burned through steel. Leo rubbed his eyes. Smells awful. You guys ever heard of soap? It's outside. Revi's assistant whispered, he's not reacting. His lungs are adjusting in real time. One scientist said, this is not resistance. It's transformation. His body becomes stronger after every test. Revi whispered. What happens when he reaches the limit? Leo looked at the camera. Done yet? Revi replied. One more. Oh, they brought out a small container. It had a yellow warning symbol. Inside was a clear liquid. The blue death virus. It wipes out entire ecosystems, Revi said. It kills anything with a nervous system. They released one drop into Leo's chamber. The virus floated through the air. It touched his skin. He blinked. He coughed once, then smiled. Dot. That's new. Machines went crazy. Lights turned red. Alarms screamed. He should be dying, one alien said. No, Revi said. Look, his immune cells are absorbing the virus, not fighting it. He's using it. Leo stood up. "K, that one gave me goosebumps." The test chamber opened. Revi stepped forward. "What are you?" Leo looked at her. For the first time, his voice was serious. "I'm human. We come from a world that never loved us. Everything tried to kill us. Our oceans drowned us. Our skies burned us. Even the ground tried to swallow us." He paused. "And we learned we didn't run. We adapted. We changed. We got stronger." Revi stepped back. "But this isn't science. This is madness." Leo laughed. "Come to Earth." Later that day, the video of the lab tests leaked. It was worse than the fruit. Now the whole university had seen him walk through toxins, cold, heat, and death. A new nickname began spreading fast. The Poison Eater. In the dining hall, students stared as he passed. Some whispered. Others moved out of his way. No one sat near him. Leo didn't mind. He got his tray of food, sat at a corner table, and started eating. One brave alien walked over. A young Celtari named Zen. He was curious, not scared. "Can I sit?" Leo smiled. "Sure." Zen looked at the food. "Is this safe for you?" Leo shrugged. "Who knows? Probably not. It makes it more exciting." Zen looked serious. "Is Earth really that bad?" Leo thought for a moment. "Yes," he said. "But also no. It's beautiful. Green mountains, deep oceans, cities that shine like stars." "Then why is it so deadly?" "Because we grew up with it. It didn't care if we lived, so we learned to survive." Zen asked. "Are all humans like you?" Leo laughed. "No, some are stronger. I'm just a guy who didn't skip gym class."
What?
Others were not laughing. In a quiet underground room, the same dark-robed figures gathered again. The lab tests confirm it. The human is real. He walked through the blue death. He is a walking weapon. They whispered in a tongue older than stars. "If this spreads, Earth will become the center of power." One voice said, "We must act." Quietly. Another nodded. "Let the galaxy fear poison, but not what happens when it smiles." That night, Leo found a small device placed under his bed. Message played. "You are not safe anymore. Round 2 begins tonight. Come alone." Leo stared at the screen, then slowly grinned. Let's see what game they want to play. He didn't call security. He didn't warn the professor. He walked out, quietly, calmly, as if this was normal, because for him it was above him. The stars shone bright, but below, something darker waited. Not poison this time, something worse. And they still didn't understand this human didn't just survive poison. He liked it. And now, the galaxy had his full attention. Everyone in the Galactic University was talking about the human. They didn't say his name anymore. They called him other things. The Poison Eater, the Death Walker, the Boy Who laughed at fire. Rumors filled the halls like smoke. They spread from the science labs to the fighting arenas, from the libraries to the gardens. Students whispered in different languages. But the message was always the same. The human was not normal. Some said he was part machine. Others said he was created in a lab on Earth to trick aliens. A few even believed he wasn't human at all, but something far worse. But no one dared to speak loudly, because no one knew who was listening. One thing was certain. Fear had arrived, and it wore a smile. Leo walked through the hallways as if nothing had changed. His steps were light, his face calm. But he noticed it. Eyes watching him. Doors shutting quickly behind him. Conversations stopping. When he entered, he wasn't surprised. He had seen fear before. He grew up in it, and fear he knew was often louder than truth. One day while walking to his advanced xenohistory class, he passed by a group of students. They were talking in low voices. One whispered, "They say he doesn't bleed." Another said, "He was exposed to plasma fire," and laughed. Leo smiled to himself. He didn't correct them. Myths were sometimes more useful than facts. Inside the lecture hall, Professor Jakara paused his lesson when Leo entered. The room went silent. Leo sat quietly in the back. But every head slowly turned to him. Jakara looked around. "Continue your studies," he said firmly. "He is not a threat," but even he sounded unsure. After class, Leo walked to the gardens. The sky above shimmered blue, fake but beautiful. Floating plants spun slowly in the air. Zen, the Celtari student who once sat with him, appeared again. He looked nervous. "Leo," he whispered. "I heard something." Leo leaned against a metal tree. "Go on." "Some students." "Not students." "Anymore? They're meeting in secret? They call themselves purists? They believe humans should not be here. They think Earth is ... wrong." Leo's eyes narrowed. "How do you know this?" Zen hesitated. "I was invited." Leo stood up, and I said no. Leo smiled. "You're smarter than you look." Zen didn't smile back. "Be careful. They're planning something." Night, Leo returned to his room. His door was slightly open. He never left it open. He walked in slowly. Silent as a shadow, nothing looked broken. Nothing was missing. But on his bed lay a small glass box. Inside it was a plant. Black leaves, red thorns. Leo frowned. He knew this plant. It was called sorrow root. On Earth, it grew only near volcanoes, to most life forms. One breath of its air could kill in seconds. Leo opened the box, the room filled with its scent. He took a deep breath and smiled. "Someone really wants me dead," he said, but he didn't die. He went to sleep like it was a normal day. The next morning, news spread fast. One of the purists had been found in the forest area behind the university. His body was ... wrong. Melted skin. Twisted limbs, no signs of attack. Only a strange black stain on his hands. Some said he had tried to steal a toxin, meant for Leo. Others said he had touched sorrow root and the plant had touched. Back, security tightened. Cameras were added. Scanners set up, but whispers kept flowing. They tried to kill him again. He walked away again. One student said if poison can't kill him, be fear can. A female warrior student named Sarl approached Leo in the training arena. She was 2 meters tall, covered in dark scales, and known for breaking bones with one hand. She stared at him. "Are the stories true?" Leo picked up a training spear. "Which one? That you laughed in plasma fire?" I chuckled. "That you drank virus fluid." "Just a sip." "Shh." She threw her spear down and walked away. Then I won't fight you. Not until I know what you are. Leo watched her leave. Even the strongest now hesitated. Later that week, Professor Jakarta was visited by 3 cloaked aliens. They showed no names, only signs of authority. You will stop teaching the human, one of them ordered. Jakarta folded his hands. He is dangerous. He is a student. Is a message, the alien said. One Earth sent to the galaxy, and we are not ready to hear it. Jakarta spoke quietly. Then maybe the galaxy should start listening. The cloaked aliens left without a word. But Jakarta knew something bigger was moving. Now, not just students, not just purists. The council itself was watching. Meanwhile, Leo sat alone in the university cafe, a tray of food untouched before him. He stared out the window, watching the artificial stars shift. Then he saw it, reflected in the glass. A shadow behind him. He turned quickly. No, one was there. But on the table now sat a new note. It read, "You are not death-proof. You just haven't met the right kind yet." Leo folded the note and smiled. "They're getting nervous," he said. He looked out again. Good, because when they feared him, they made one mistake. They made him pay attention, and now he was listening. The night was quiet, too quiet. Leo stood on the rooftop of the university tower, looking at the stars. They weren't real stars. It's just a fake sky. But still, they calmed him. For a moment, he almost forgot the fear building below. Almost he felt it again, that strange silence. Not peace, but the silence that comes before a storm. He turned around. A message appeared on his wrist screen. It was from an unknown sender. You survived poison. You survived cold. You laughed at death. Let's see what fire does to you. Lab 19. Midnight. Come alone, Leo smiled. There it is. No name, no threat. Just a challenge. He liked that. At exactly midnight, Leo entered Lab 19. The hallway lights flickered. No voices, no guards. Just the soft hum of machines. The door opened by itself. Inside, the room was dark, except for one glowing ring in the center. A machine, tall, silent. Alive, 6 robed figures stood around it, the same ones from before the purists. One stepped forward. His voice was cold. You don't belong here. Leo tilted his head. Neither do cowards. The figure raised a hand. This machine holds plasma heat level 7, designed to break down every element in the universe. Even steel screams inside it. Nothing lives in it. Leo stepped into the glowing circle. Let's find out. The chamber closed. Thick walls sealed shut. The glass turned red. Then the fire began. Outside, the temperature gauge rose fast. 500 degrees Celsius, 800 degrees Celsius, 1,000 degrees Celsius. Inside, Leo stood still. He closed his eyes. At 1,200 degrees Celsius, his skin turned red. Steam rose off his shoulders. At 1,500 degrees Celsius, his shirt burned off. The air inside turned to flame. One purist whispered, he should be ash by now. But inside, Leo opened his eyes. He was smiling. He lifted his arms and shouted through the fire, "Come on, that all you've got?" The flames hit 2,000 degrees Celsius. Suddenly, the machine sparked. The heat controls began to fail. One figure yelled, "Shut it down." Another screamed, "He's overloading the core." But it was too late. The chamber exploded open. Flames shot out. Smoke poured across the room and through it all. Leo walked out. His skin was glowing red, his body steaming, but he was alive. He looked at them and he laughed, tickled a little. The purists stood frozen. They had tried everything. They had thrown poison, acid, cold, and fire at him. Nothing worked. Leo walked past them slowly. No guards stopped him. No one dared speak. He opened the lab door, turned once and said, "If this is your best Earth is going to be bored," then he left. Hours later, the Galactic Security Council received a report. Test subject, human, survived plasma burn. No physical damage, no fear response. Counselor Threx read the report. He dropped the data pad. This is not biology. This is a weapon. In a hidden room deep under the university, the leader of the purists removed his hood. His face was old and marked with war scars. His body is unbreakable, he said quietly. But what about his mind? Another asked. You want to try? Fear? No, the leader said. I want to try memory. The plan was changing. They had learned something tonight. You can't kill a storm with fire, but maybe you can break it with the past. That same night, Leo lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. His body still felt hot, but his mind was calm. He whispered to himself, "They still think it's about what I can survive." He smiled in the dark. Have no idea what's coming next, because Earth never sent its strongest. Just someone who wasn't afraid to bleed in the galaxy. Wasn't ready for that, not even close. Professor Jakara couldn't sleep. He sat alone in his study chamber, surrounded by glowing books, old hollow screens, and data crystals. His long blue fingers trembled slightly as he replayed the footage again. Frame by frame, Leo burned. Covered in flame, walking out of the plasma test chamber smiling. No pain, no fear, no weakness. It was not just strange anymore. It was impossible. And yet, it happened. Jakara leaned back and stared at the ceiling. A quiet alarm rang in the back of his mind, a warning older than science. Something is wrong with the universe. When a man walks through fire like water, he had seen strange species in his life, creatures that lived in stars, worms that lived inside black holes. But even they had limits. The human did not. Jakara opened a secured file, one that had been locked for over 100 years. Even the council had forbidden it. The name glowed red on the screen. Project Earth, Origin Files, Level 9 clearance. Only he entered an old code one that hadn't been used in decades. The screen opened. A slow hum filled the room, and then, silence then, came the videos. The first showed a group of human children, no older than 10, running through a jungle. Bright green, beautiful. But the sensors on the video showed something terrifying. Toxic air, acid rain, ground temperature, 65 degrees Celsius. The children laughed. One of them fell face first into the mud. The computer tagged the mud as corrosive. She stood up and wiped it off. No burns, no scream, just a smile. Jakara's eyes widened. The second video was worse. It showed soldiers, training inside a storm winds. Reached 300 kph. Lightning struck the ground every 3 seconds. Radiation. Levels were off the charts. The humans wore no protection. They ran, jumped, shouted, and punched each other. One even drank rainwater from his hand. Jakara paused the video. That storm would kill most species in under 2 minutes. These humans were enjoying it. He opened the third file, a camera recording inside. A facility, a science lab. One wall showed a sign, Level 6 Biohazard Lethal Zone. Inside the room, a man in a white coat was slicing open a glowing red fruit. Next to him stood a teenage boy. The scientist handed him a piece. The fruit was identified by the system. Bloodthorn peach, universal kill rating, 98.7%. The boy ate it, chewed slowly, then said, "Tastes like burning metal. I like it." Jakara closed the file. His breath was heavy. He opened one more document. A report written by an alien scientist who once visited Earth. Their planet is not livable. Their animals are hunters. Their weather's war. Their food is toxic. Oceans are pressure cookers. Their plants bite. Their soil burns. Yet they smile. The last line of the report chilled him. Earth does not support life. Earth trains it. Jakara leaned forward. This was not evolution. This was something else. Something created by a planet that wanted to destroy its own children but failed. Instead, it made monsters that could not be broken. He looked at Leo's file again. Age, 19 class. First year exchange student origin, Earth Northern Hemisphere. Zone 3, Cold War territory health, Stable combat history. Unknown. Family. Not listed immunities. Still expanding. Still expanding. The professor whispered. He's not done. The screen blinked. A new notification popped up. Motion alert. Student. Leo, outside your office? Jakara turned quickly. The door opened. Leo walked in. No smile this time. His face calm, eyes serious. Hello, Professor. Jakara stood. How long were you standing there? Long enough? The air between them felt heavy. Leo walked over to the desk and looked at the files on the screen. You finally opened the red box, he said softly. You knew? Leo nodded. Single quotes. Kara stepped back. Why are you here? Leo looked up. Because I want you to understand something, before the rest of them do. Jakara's voice was shaky. Understand what? Leo leaned closer, his voice lowered. We didn't come here to scare you, but we knew it would happen. You'd let them test you. Yes, you'd let them burn you. I let them try. Jakara's hands trembled. Leo continued. You think Earth made us strong? You're wrong, Jakara asked. Then what did? Leo's answer was soft, but terrifying. Pain. We were born in it, raised in it, trained by it. We don't run from poison. We turn it into fuel. We don't escape death. We study it. We outlive it. Paused. And the only reason your galaxy still breathes is because Earth hasn't been angry. Yet Leo turned toward the door. Before leaving, he said one last thing. The council's watching. The purists are planning, but none of them are ready. For what? Jakara asked. Leo's eyes flashed. For the day Earth answers back, then he was gone. Jakara sat down. His hands were cold, because now he finally understood. The human was not the threat. Earth was. And Leo was only the first drop of the storm. The council chamber was never this quiet. No one whispered. No one dared to move. Even the air felt heavy. At the center of the grand room stood a giant screen. It showed only one thing now, a man. A human, Leo, half-dashed naked, burned but smiling, walking. Out of a fire chamber that should have killed him, footage was slowed down, played over and over, each time. The council watched in disbelief. The head counselor, Threx, finally stood. He was tall, gray-scaled, and older than most planets. He slammed his staff on the floor. This is not science, he growled. This is not natural, this is a threat. Others nodded slowly. One spoke. The fire chamber melted titanium. He walked out like he had taken a warm bath. Another added, he didn't just survive. He laughed. That laugh, it was a message. Stared at the screen. It was a warning. A small voice spoke from the back. Maybe we shouldn't have tested him. The room turned. Everyone stared at the speaker, a young Sarn diplomat named Bella. She looked nervous but held her ground. He didn't ask to be burned or poisoned or dropped in freezing water. We did that. Threx's eyes narrowed. We needed to know. Know what? Svella asked. How far we could push a human before he breaks, or before we do. Silence. Someone whispered, maybe we already pushed too far. Just then, the chamber doors slammed open. A group of soldiers entered. Behind them was a creature no one had seen before? Not in person. The alien had 3 arms, deep red skin, and wore the badge of the Archivist Order. He bowed once. I bring findings from Earth's ancient records. Files left by the first professor. Everyone leaned forward. The archivist placed a data sphere into the center console. The lights dimmed. A voice echoed. It was the original alien professor's voice. Do not provoke them. Do not test their limits. The human body is not the danger. It is the human will. The room froze. The voice continued. They can turn pain into strength. They can turn fear into rage. And when they have nothing left, they still fight. They are not like us. Their hearts are built to burn brighter the closer they get to death. Threx's face turned pale. He whispered, why wasn't this shown? Before, the archivist looked around because it was erased. By your order. Years ago, gasps. Vila stared at Threx. You knew. I feared what they were. Threx admitted, so I hid it. Hoped we could control them. Now the chamber was full of anger, fear, and guilt. One counselor stood. We can't control this, another added. We should never have tried, someone shouted. We need to exile the human. But a deeper voice spoke over them. It was the war general. Old and silent until now. You think exile works on a species that conquered their own extinction 5 times? Everyone turned to him. He stepped forward, slow and calm. You want to remove the human? You want to erase the problem? Then you don't understand what's coming. He pointed at the screen, showing Leo's face. This is not a problem. The beginning, Threx sat down, breathing hard. For the first time in 100 years, he was afraid. Not of death, but of what Earth would do next. Meanwhile, in the deep human section of the university, Leo stood in the old professor's ruined lab. He had seen the data files too. He had heard the professor's final words. He knew what they feared, and he knew why. He turned to the small camera hidden in the wall and spoke calmly. Erase my records. Hide your warnings. Lie to your people. It won't change anything. He leaned in closer. Because now, we're not just surviving. We're remembering. Far above, the council chamber lights dimmed again, and every screen showed the same final message from the erased files. Do not teach them fear. They will. Only teach it back stronger. The alien screamed. His 3 eyes blinked fast, his voice shaking. It bit me. It actually bit me. Out. Blood dripped from his arm, purple, thick, and steaming. Others in the lab stepped back, staring in silence at the human locked behind. The glass Leo, he stood still. His mouth had blood on it. His hands were calm, his breathing slow, but his eyes. They didn't blink, one of the alien scientists whispered. That was not normal. The lead researcher, Dr. Selkar, stepped closer. He stared at the wound. He pierced your skin with his teeth, through your suit. The bitten alien held his arm. I've never seen a prisoner do that. He didn't care about pain, didn't care about the shocks. He just lunged. Dr. Selkar turned back to the glass. Leo was still watching. He knew what he was doing. The doctor whispered. Back in the council chamber, alarms were already rising. A red signal blinked on every screen. Human hostile reaction, unprovoked. Attack. But it wasn't unprovoked. Not really. The aliens had taken blood samples from Leo. They had tried new chemicals. They had injected strange fluids to see how his muscles would respond. They didn't expect him to respond back. Vela stood beside the war general as the news played. They crossed the line, she said. No, the general replied. He did. She turned to him confused. He explained that bite wasn't just instinct. It was a message, a code. A switch flipped. The video paused on Leo's face. His teeth still stained, his jaw clenched. He didn't attack, the general said. He answered. And far, far away, on a cold moon near Saturn. The signal reached Earth, a private transmission, tiny, hidden in a stream of background noise. But one satellite caught it old, broken, half buried in ice. Still, it blinked green once, and deep under Antarctica, in a hidden base, long thought abandoned. An ancient screen lit up. Words appeared. Bite confirmed. Code Wolf. Then the second line. Awakened sleepers. Somewhere in the galaxy, 6 humans lost, scattered. Forgotten opened their eyes. One in a slave camp. One on a mining ship. One inside an alien zoo. Each had waited. Each had trained in silence. Each now remembered who they were, because Leo's bite wasn't just a warning, it was a signal back at the Alien Research Center. Its alarms still rang. But Leo had stopped pacing. He sat now, breathing. Calm, waiting. He knew the chain reaction had started. The bite had been small, but it was enough. Enough to unlock the buried codes. Enough to send a whisper across star systems. Enough to wake up what the galaxy had forgotten. The humans were not just test subjects anymore. They were coming together. Not by ships, not by weapons, but by instinct. One council member screamed, "We need to quarantine Earth, now." Another shouted, "Kill the prisoner before others wake." Too late. From the edges of space, signals blinked red. Prison doors opened without reason. Tracking tags failed. Ships went dark. And in every place where a human had once been abandoned, the same message appeared. The pack has heard the call. Leo looked up. He smiled again. Not out of joy, but out of memory. The professor once told him a story from Earth's past. "Wolves don't howl for fun," the old man said. "They howl to signal, to warn, to summon." Leo whispered the word now to himself. Howl. The lab glass around him cracked. Just slightly. The guard stepped back. The galaxy still didn't know what it had. Woken, but it was about to find out. Because the bite wasn't just the start of a fight. It was the first sign the pack was alive, and it never bites alone. It started with silence. Then came the howls. Not real howls, not like animals. These were signals, codes, deep ancient calls only humans understood. Across the stars, those who had waited heard them. Some had waited for years. Others had. Waited in chains, in cages, in shadows. But now they moved. The galaxy didn't understand what was happening. Ships vanished from scanners. Prisons went dark. Laboratories burned. No alarms went off. The humans had stopped running. They were gathering. One by one they arrived. Not on warships, not with banners, but quietly, like shadows rising before a storm. In the cold orbit above Sarnes 4, a mining ship turned and flew toward an unmarked asteroid. Inside, a woman named Mira cracked her knuckles and opened an old locker marked Operation Grey Fang. On the edge of the Dredden system, a man who had been working in a slave forge pulled a tooth out of his mouth. It was metal hollow-end. Inside was a microchip, a chip that hadn't blinked in 20 years now. It pulsed green. He smiled. The pack was rising. And deep inside the alien council chamber, chaos was already spreading. Reports were flying in. Containment failed again. Subject Omega broke out. 6 guards dead. Sector 12. Gone. The head of the council pounded the table. They were supposed to be extinct. We broke them. A voice replied calmly. You didn't break them. Train them. No one had noticed the human standing in the chamber's far corner. His name was Kane. He hadn't spoken in 12 years until now. One council member shouted, "Who let him in?" "Security." Kane stepped forward. Calm, steady. "You studied." "Our blood," he said. "You mapped our bones. You measured our screams. But you forgot one thing." He looked each of them in the eye. "You forgot we were never alone." He snapped his fingers at that moment. Every screen in the chamber went black. Then one by one, new images appeared. Leo in his cell, now standing beside an open door. Mira on the asteroid, her armor glowing. The slave from the forge, climbing aboard a stolen cruiser. And then Earth, not the broken. Quiet Earth, they thought, still existed. This Earth was awake. A fleet rose from Antarctica, hidden ships rising through ice and sky. From the deep oceans, subs emerged that hadn't moved in 40 years. And from the stars long lost. Human outposts lit up stations the galaxy thought were dead. The council stared, frozen. What? What is this? Kane spoke one last time. This is the answer to your question. What question? He smiled. The one you asked the day you took Leo. The day you hurt our people. The day you laughed at our silence. He stepped closer. You asked, what can one human do? He turned toward the window. Now you'll learn what billions can do. Together. Above the alien capital, a ripple formed in the sky. Not thunder, not lightning. It was a human shippa. Titan-class dreadnought, the kind not seen since the last galactic war. The kind built only for one purpose. Not defense, retribution, and DS. It wasn't alone. Behind it, the fleet stretched across space. Thousands of ships, all human, all angry. The pack had not just risen, it had come home. And this time the galaxy would learn. Humans were not prey, Not test subjects, not pets. They were wolves. And the bite was only the beginning.